Hi, this tutorial covers a common type of graph called the line chart. But actually what we're going to do first is start with another type of graph called a histogram. So the following histogram shows the average pupil to teacher ratio in the 26 states that are east of the Mississippi River. Okay, so the United States is broken up into to the east of the river and to the west of the river. Okay, so let's start by just taking a look at the histogram here and make sure we understand what it means. So in this case, so this histogram, the smallest value is in this 12 to less than 13 range. Okay, so the only number from 12 to less than 13, there end up being is probably 12, so somewhere in that range, and that had a frequency of 2. So that means 2 states had that ratio. Okay, we can see from 15 to 16, that was the most frequent. That went up to a frequency of 11. Okay, and so forth. So that gives us a pretty good idea of the student-teacher ratio or pupil-teacher ratio in those states. Okay, so we'll come back to that in a sec. Now, a line chart is a type of graph where quantitative data is put into intervals, then dots are plotted to a height determined by the interval frequency. The dots are then connected. Okay, another type of line chart is what's called a frequency polygon. So it's a type of line chart where the dots are placed at the tops of the midpoints of bars from a histogram, then the dots are connected. So they're really very similar. A frequency polygon, you're generally using an existing histogram, but a line chart is basically what's left when you take away the histogram. Alright, so let's actually make be considered a frequency polygon in this case. But again, just a type of line chart. So the first thing we needed to do, so notice it's already grouped into intervals. A histogram is made. Now what we need to do is we need to use the midpoints of the tops of the histogram bars. Okay, so I'm going to start by drawing in these midpoints. Alright, and then what I want to do is connect them using lines. Okay, where line chart comes from. So I'm going to use a ruler so I can get nice straight lines. So those are the first two connected. Okay, here to here to here to here, and it flattens out here. Okay, so now what a couple of things that this tells us. It really gives you the same or very similar information to the histogram. We can tell when the line flattens out. That's when two categories next to each other have the same frequency. Okay, we can see this big spike means that this middle category is very different in terms of frequency than the other categories next to it. So this just gives you just another way of representing this quantitative data set. Okay, another type of line chart that's used is what's called a multiple line chart. And a multiple line chart is a type of line chart that can be used to compare quantitative data sets from multiple populations. Okay, so you can see on here, now there's two line graphs. Okay, one in red, the other one in yellow. The red represents states, so we're graphing the same information here, average pupil to teacher ratio. The red represents states east of the Mississippi River. That's really the same graph that we saw in the last one. And the yellow represents states west of the Mississippi River. Okay, so this bar here represents the states west of the Mississippi. So in this diagram, all 50 states are accounted for. And a couple interesting things you can get from this is it seems that states west of the Mississippi River, first of all, there's a few states here with a much higher pupil to teacher ratio than any state in the east. We can see certainly that the yellow states, or the states to the west represented by the yellow line, don't seem to have this extreme peak to it. The peak here is at 6, which was in the 14 to 15 range. But this, notice, when we compare multiple populations on this multiple line chart, we can make some pretty good comparisons of the two separate populations. So that has been the tutorial on the type of graph known as the line chart. Thanks for watching.